بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الباب 59 بعد 100. باب تعجيل قضاء الدين عن الميت والمبادرة إلى تجهيزه إلا أن يموت فجأة فيترك حتى يتيقن موته. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال: نفس المؤمن معلقة بدينه حتى يقضى عنه. رواه الترمذي وقال حديث حسن. وعن حسين بن وحوح رضي الله عنه أن طلحة بن البراء بن عازم رضي الله عنهما مرض، فأتاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعوده فقال: إني لا أرى طلحة إلا قد حدث فيه الموت فآذنوني به وعجلوا به، فإنه لا ينبغي لجيفة مسلم أن تحبس بين ظهراني أهله. Rahu Abu Dawud. Chapter 159 says, hastening, rushing forth to take care of the debts of the deceased Muslim. There's a debt, there's a haqq that the deceased Muslim owes to someone. The living Muslims should rush to make sure that they take care of those debts. Secondly, this chapter is dealing with al-mubadara ila tajhizihi, hastening and rushing forth to preparing the body. The shaving, trimming, washing, shrouding, the preparation of the body, the preparation of the burial, unless a Muslim dies unexpectedly or suddenly, in which the Muslims should not rush until they're sure that he has died. They should not rush until they're sure that he has been pronounced dead and he has left this world. So, three main points. First point was qada ad-dain, the debt. Point number 2, the preparation, the tajheez. And point number 3, at-tayaqqun min al-maut, is being sure that the Muslim is actually dead. A, no delay in that. B, no delay in that. C, there should be a delay in that until the Muslims are sure that he has actually passed. The debts that are recorded in a will, the debts that are proven by witnesses, and the debts which may not be in a will but are known. And of course, the Muslim who's dying has a responsibility of explaining. And the Muslim who's living and isn't dying, he has a responsibility of preparing for the death before its eventuality, before it comes. Writing down and recording what he owes and what people owe him. Now, does the modern world enter, or is the modern world included in this with regards to gas, electric, water, rent, mortgage, rental, lease, cell phone, cable, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of the different deliveries and the different services that we have subscriptions to? Are they included in debt? And if they are, then a Muslim is going to say that in the world in which we live in today, you're in a constant state of debt, 24/7. Versus, I actually owe you money. There's the collateral, some farmland, some equipment, etc. And that's it. Or if a person says that the billing system is constantly moving. So if you died right now, you would be in what? You would be in debt. Do you have time to write everything down in your will? And should you put all of that in your will? These are my subscriptions. This is what I pay monthly. I have a delivery service, I have a parking service, I have a monthly subscription to a car wash. Pay $40 a month, and I can take my car to get washed anytime, amount of times that I want. Is that included in dain? You owe a person after the next or the new billing cycle. That in itself is a very important question. Hajj, Umrah. Can I make Hajj? Can I make Umrah? No, you shouldn't make Hajj or Umrah. That's voluntary if you have debt. But if you say that, then that would mean no one would ever be able to what? Make Hajj or Umrah, because there's always a what? It's a constant billing system. It doesn't stop. And technically speaking, if it's the 5th of the month, the lights are on since the 1st. So that's 4 days of me being in what? In debt. And that's a haqq that I owe them. So what happens when a person dies, when a person is declared to be dead, with regards to the banks, with regards to the other financial institutions? But we're talking about the personal accounting of what is a debt that I owe. Okay, how does a Muslim write the will? What is the difference between the will and the difference between inheritance? If you have a son that you don't like, you don't agree with, you don't get along with, which is very common. Me and my son, we don't see eye to eye. I have to leave money behind for him whether I like it or not. He has a haqq to my wealth. I haven't spoken to him in 2-3 years. My oldest son, he's 30. I'm 60. I'm whatever the age. I'm not putting him in my what? My will. But I'm putting my youngest son in my will. I can do that. I can put this family member or this friend in a will. You get half my estate. I leave the house to you. I leave the boat to you. I leave the property up the street to you. But the son that I don't like, I can intentionally what? Bar him out the will. Proving that the will is not Islamic inheritance. They are two separate entities. Like all separate entities, sometimes they get close to each other. Sometimes they touch, but they are separate. So what do you do in a land in which Islam isn't the dominant rule, such as ours? How do I make sure that my wealth is divided properly? The only way that you can do that is by putting your inheritance in a will. And then having it notarized, it's legalized, I have witnesses, I have an executor, so on and so on and so on and so forth. But technically speaking, that's only for legal formalities. You can't bar this person from my wealth. Man has more than one wife. The system doesn't allow her to inherit anything. So you have to make sure that you what? Write it down. She deserves such and such amount of money. So technically speaking, the inheritance has become the what? And that's not how it's supposed to be. Now, the will is a thing in which you're only allowed to put a certain amount of your wealth, and certain people are to be mentioned in your will. As far as inheritance, then those are the people mentioned by Allah and His Messenger, and they are to receive the share and the portion given to them by Allah and His Messenger, regardless of how you or me feel. For him to have that. Also, another mistake that many of us make is giving out our inheritance while we're still alive. I have 4 children. I gave each of them a piece of real estate. When I go, this is yours, this is yours. It's wrong. You can give a gift, but you can't give out your inheritance. The inheritance is the wealth that is divided after you die. And there are many wisdoms behind that. From those wisdoms is you don't know who's going to remain alive. From those wisdoms, you don't know how much you're going to have. And there are many other wisdoms. So the concept of jahiliyyah, with regards to how people played around with the inheritance, and Allah abolished that jahiliyyah practice. Yusikumullahu. Allah gives you instruction concerning your children. So many of us, we don't handle our wills and our inheritance properly. And many of us don't pay our zakat properly. And there's no excuse for me to be ignorant of the ABC basics of the will, the inheritance, and zakat. Because the imam of the masjid is there, he's available. The knowledge is available. The mufti he's right there. But if you don't ask or learn, and you think that inheritance, will, same thing, on the day of judgment, you're going to have before then, you're going to have a very rude awakening. So a Muslim must learn the basics of these things. So writing down the debt in the will, having the witnesses, updating your debt or your will, clouding it, notarizing it, especially if you have non-Muslim family members, Christian, Hindu, whatever they may be. and we're still going to try to interfere with your wish after you go. That's my son. I baptized him. He was just Muslim because he was in jail. He was just Muslim because of a woman. Or people come in and try to play around. We know he's a Muslim, but I'm going to take this and don't give it to this one. We never liked this person. We never liked his wife, so on and so forth. It's a problem. So obviously the law is the determining factor between me and you. It's in writing, legalized. Whether you like it or not, Abdurrahman told us we take his body, we wash his body. That's my son. I baptized him. He's a Christian. Ma'am, I'm sorry for your loss, but this is Abdurrahman's wishes. We have the legal authority to take the body. So you have to make the necessary precautions, especially if you have non-Muslim family members, and especially have Muslim family members who aren't that righteous, and they're ignorant, and they aren't practicing what's correct. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khair inshallah. All right. وَالْمُبَادَرَ إِلَى تَجْهِيزِهِ, rushing forth to prepare the body. When a Muslim dies, what's the first thing to be taken from his wealth? Arif, what's the first thing? You die, you leave behind 1 million. What's the first slice from that 1 million to be used on what?
Burial.
Arif.
Yeah.
Burial? Ali? To bury?
Yeah.
Ali? You say burial too? Abu Mir, you say burial. Mahad? Burial. Loans, debts. Right. Scholars of Islam, none of the scholars of Islam, nobody, Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Malik, nobody says what you guys just said, burial. Nobody. You're making up a fifth madhab. No one says burial first. Some scholars say tajheez, preparation.
Yeah,
it's not
part of
that's afterwards though.
part of the burial.
The burial costs how much? Roughly. Long Island, how much does it cost a Muslim cemetery?
5,000.
10,000. Okay. Where do you wash the body at?
More.
How much does that cost?
Alhamdulillah, some brothers is free.
Shrouding, how much does that cost? Transporting the body, how much does that cost? All of that is included in what? Preparation. Who's going to wash the body? Trim his fingernails, his mustache, etc., etc. That is all a part of preparation. Preparation comes before burial. Burial is a part of preparation, no doubt. However, it's what? All right, so let's get technical now.
Right.
So the lot costs 10,000. That's all I have. And the funeral service costs how much?
6.
Then what?
2,000. 6 is.
Okay, 2,000. So 2,000 minus 10 is 8. I only have $8,000 left to get buried. They say, sorry, we can't help you. Please, there's nowhere. Sorry, it's a business.
You're going to stay in the fridge.
I have workers to pay. I have taxes. I have this. I have another house. I have another property I'm paying mortgage on. Leasing out to Muslims. Naam? Then what? Tajheez. Preparation comes before the burial. It's all one thing, but it's steps. For argument's sake, we can find somewhere to bury him. Somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. But there's no way we can do without the preparation. Sorry? So some scholars say that the preparation comes first. The first thing from his money. All right, so we have 10,000 minus 1 million. How much is left?
9,000.
مثلا تفسير والتكفين
قلت هذا كله تجهيز مقال الدفن أول شيء قل قبل الدفن
ايوه
عدة
ايوه تفسير
أيوة نقله والأوراق, the city papers, the coroner's office. The brother he got shot, he got stabbed, anything happened. Autopsies, yani, right? Tell you, or you may have to bribe one of the family members. Unfortunately, he didn't have a will. So the mother's saying, no, you can't take him. We go to the uncle and say, listen, man, give us the body. He says, all right, what can you do for me? Take this. Just give us the what? Gives the body. It's permissible to pay a bribe as long as you're not taking someone's haqq away. As long as you're not falsifying some batil. This is what I owe you, but I pay a bribe to get out of it. That's haram, of course. This is what you owe me. You pay money. That's different. But to get your haqq, and it's the only way to get your haqq by paying it, then that's what? And in many parts of the world, we know this. I've experienced it. You can't leave this country until you what? Bottom line. You can cry, you can boo-hoo, you can quote Bukhari and Muslim. You're not leaving the airport until you what? Bakshish, yani. A gift. You can do it the hard way or you can do it the what? The easy way. Someone's trying to oppress you, make dhulm. You may have to what? Oh, that's not the same as you do owe this person, you are wrong, and you pay the bribe to get out of it. Yakhtalif. Be careful. Paying a bribe out of necessity isn't the same as paying a bribe to wrong someone. Everyone understand this? I'm paying a bribe to get my haqq that I won't get unless I customs at the airport. Overseas in the Muslim countries. This is the paper, these are your things. You can't get your things until you what? Oh, it's the truth. Some Muslim airports you go to, there are no carts. You have your luggage. There are no carts to buy. And the only way you can get one is by someone bringing you the cart. Of course, he says, Bismillah, Inshallah, Alhamdulillah. And the moment he takes your stuff around, he does what? He said, no, I don't have nothing. He'll keep standing there. He's not going away and tell you what. So, sometimes what can you do? Al-Muhim. So there is 900 and how much left? $90,000. All right, tight. What's the next thing they've done with his wealth after the preparation? Debt. Do y'all agree?
When it comes,
After the preparation, what's next?
Yeah.
Debt.
Yeah.
All right, how much does he owe? 900,000. Nafi said. Aywa, debt. All right. So how much does he have left now? 90,000. Good. What's the next thing we do with his wealth? No, that's done. That's a part of the preparation, like Arif said. The will. All right. Who does he want to? 90,000. So in theory, he's not to give more than 1/3 of his wealth in a will. Whether that be a non-relative, for argument's sake, a non-Muslim. All right? Not an heir, the warith. Someone that's mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. Wife, father, brother, grand, etc. All right? So I'm going to donate 1/3 of my wealth to the masjid. So how much remains now? 60. What's the last thing we do with his wealth? لا الوصية الويل خلاص. ميراث. فرائض يعني شوف كيف اشتبه يعني. Just like that, we said the will is the inheritance. So the inheritance is 60,000, 60K. How many people does he have alive? How many heirs?
2 wives.
2 wives? No 2 wives. No polygamy, bro. Polygamy was for 1,400 years ago. That's no, brother. No. Wife, I don't allow polygamy. Go ahead with all that stuff. Just one wife. We keep it real. Tawheed. Monotheism. All right, so he has 1 wife. How many children?
6.
He says 5.
6 stepchildren.
All right. It's not an heir. Who are the heirs? He has 4 brothers and sisters from same mother, same father, etc., etc. So that 60,000 is going to be what? Diced up among the wife, 5 kids, brothers, whoever is an heir, warith, according to Quran and Sunnah. So in theory, how much does the wife get? 1/8. Sure about that?
Yeah, wife, I think it's 1/8.
1/8. Everybody agree? كم للزوج يعني نظريا يعني سؤال نظري.
ثمن إذا كان في أولاد.
هذا لا يا شيخ هذا تقييد. السؤال هو سؤال على الإطلاق.
ربع أو ثمن.
أما إذا كان أولاد هذا زيادة على الجواب. So a woman starts off, the wife starts off by giving how much? fourth, not an eighth. A fourth. As far as if you and her have, then she is to get an eighth. So an eighth of 60,000 is how much?
7,000 something.
7 and some change. So we have 53,000 left. The children, 2 of them are boys, 2 of them are girls. How much does the boy get? كم للذكر؟
للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين.
طيب.
So the remaining gonna be splitting in between 3, right?
It's much more. There are more heirs. There's a grandmother, wahakada, etc. The moral of the story is that the inheritance isn't the will. It's not the will. You can't say, I'll put my son in the inheritance. But the way that the legal system is set up, sometimes you what? You have to that. So you're going to... يعني الفرق بين الوصية والميراث. لأن المحاكم غير شرعية.
المحاكم هنا يعني هنا.
على الواحد يكتب أي شيء في الوصية. هو يترك للكلب. يترك جميع ماله للكلب. وهذا حصل. أيوة. هذا حصل. هناك من الناس أغنياء تركوا كل الأموال للكلب.
هذا للكفار بس طبعا.
المسلمين يحبون الكلاب.
حتى المسلمين.
بعضهم لأنهم كلاب في البيوت. يوجد. أما هذا درجة ولكن المقصود وصية شيء والإرث. لكن على الواحد يحتاج يكتب الإرث صيغة إيش؟ صيغة الوصية حتى يختم ويكون شيء رسمي في المحاكم. You have to put your will, your inheritance in a will form to get it legalized. Because the court system, they're not going to say, oh, Surah An-Nisa. Doesn't work like that.
If I have this.
Well, somebody doesn't even have doesn't have a format for their inheritance and leave to their family.
Then that's the job of the Muslims. But the problem is nothing is legal. There's no legal court. We can do whatever we want. One wife, one ex-wife, one child says, Abby loved me the most.
Yes.
And that happens what? All of the time. The first hadith, that was just exercise.
It's another workshop.
The first hadith is narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Messenger of Allah said, Nafsul mu'mini, he says that the believer's soul, mu'allaqatun bidaynihi, will be held back by its debt, by its dain, hatta yuqda anhu, until someone pays off the debt. The believer's soul will be at a place of holding. It will be locked up, held back, until someone comes forth and pays off the debt. And this hadith is collected by Imam Tirmidhi, who said it is Hasan. And obviously Tirmidhi saying it's Hasan isn't the same as later scholars saying Hasan. Tirmidhi says hadithun Hasan, he means something specifically. Not what Ibn Hajar, Dhahabi, Albani, what they mean when they say Hasan. Tirmidhi has a istilahun khas. Next hadith is reported by Hussein ibn Wahwah, radiallahu anhu. It's narrated that Talha ibn al-Bara ibn Azib, may Allah be pleased with them both, went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He became sick. فَأَتَاهُ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the Prophet went to him visiting him. And he said, إِنِّي لَأَرَى طَلْحَةَ إِلَّا قَدْ حَدَثَ فِيهِ الْمَوْتُ. He says, I see that he's about to pass. He's about to die. He's on the verge of dying. فَآذِنُونِي بِهِ. So make sure you give me a heads up. Make sure you tell me. وَعَجِّلُوا بِهِ. And hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. It says here, فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَنْبَغِي لِجِيفَةِ مُسْلِمٍ أَن تُحْبَسَ بَيْنَ ظَهْرَانَيْ أَهْلِهِ. It's unnecessary for a Muslim's body to remain among his family for an unnecessary amount of time. This hadith is collected by Imam Abu Dawood. Al-Muhim, rushing forth, as we previously mentioned, قدموني قدموني إن كانت صالحة تقول قدموني قدموني. Rush forth, hasten me if it's a righteous Muslim, and if it's other than that, ويلها أين تذهبون بها. اللهم المستعان. والله تعالى أعلم.